Hi, Kerry here from My Cloud Bookkeeping. I work with small businesses and entrepreneurs, helping them to manage their business finances using QuickBooks Online. Now, you may have heard the acronym AP or even heard of Accounts Payable, but not sure exactly what that means. You use Accounts Payable when you purchase something now and you pay for it later. The main reason you would want to do this is to ensure you've captured the cost in the period it belongs and ensure you've recorded that liability, the amount you owe, and it's showing up in your records. This makes sure your profit is accurate and you can manage your cash flow. So let's take a look.
Okay, so here we are in our sample company, and I'm going to pop up here to create, and I'm going to go under the suppliers section here to create a bill. Now, when you send something to somebody, it's an invoice, then they send you an invoice. QuickBooks uses the languaging bill. So when you receive something from somebody that you need to pay in QuickBooks, you have a bill. So we've received a bill from Cass Hayden. You can see that the information in QuickBooks has pre-populated her address. And now we have the option to enter our bill date, which is the date on the bill that we've received from her, and the bill number. Now, a bill number is a great idea because that's the number of her invoice. And when Cass receives the money from us, she will know exactly which bill we're paying for. So the number on her bill is 612. Now we can also enter in here the terms. You can see here the bill date was the 19th of November, and therefore the due date was the 19th of November. Let's take a look at what happens when we enter some terms. Let's say that this is a net 15 bill. All of a sudden, our due date has shifted to the 4th of December. So now we know who we have received the bill from, what the date of the bill was. We've entered the bill number. We know the terms. We know when it's due. We get to categorize what these expenses were for. Now, QuickBooks has pre-filled this row here with the information we had last time. That's a setting that you can turn on or off. I'm going to say that this is for computer and internet expenses. However, this bill is for $850. We're still going to use the same sales tax code, and we have now entered a bill for Cass Hayden. So why don't we click Save and New, and we'll enter another bill. So let's see whose bill we've received next. Let's receive a bill from Town Electric and Gas. We'll say this bill was dated on the 1st of November with terms of net 30. Now, typically they don't have separate bills. They often have our account number, which I happen to know is 2A23456. How's that? Now, this would be for utilities. So we'll enter in here our utilities, which is electric and gas. We'll put in the amount on the bill, $252.78, and some sales tax. Let's just say it's exempt. Now, we might have a situation where we're paying this for two separate classes and we want to split the row. So I'm going to pop here, utilities and gas again. I'm going to find out what half of this is. 126.39, exempt. And we can use our classes. We can say that half of this was for us paying for the bill for North, and half of it was for admin. Perhaps admin and North are in the same building, so you're able to split the bill amongst different rows. In our previous example, Cass may have provided some subcontractor services in addition to the internet. What we always want to make sure, though, is that the bottom or the balance due total here, the total here, is the same as the total on the bill. Now, before we save it, we also have the option to add an attachment. So this gives you the opportunity to add in a copy of the bill that you've received. There are many ways this can be automated, but for the sake of this example now, I'm just saying you can add attachment, and there it is attached to the bill. This is also very useful if you're sending things out for approval. This particular version of QuickBooks I'm in now doesn't have that option, but a lot of them do now, where you can send it for approval before it gets paid. So I'm going to save and close this. Now, as with all things QuickBooks, there are multiple ways to get to that enter the bill. There's expenses and pay bills here. Will take you to the vendor center where you can have a new transaction and select bill. This is exactly what we just did. We can also go across here to all apps, or actually expenses even here, and bills. We'll have a list of our bills, including those that we just entered, and we can add a bill here. So you will have your favorite way to get there. And that's fine. There's no one way isn't better than the other. What I have done is put myself beautifully in this pay bills section, which you can also get to from up here, pay bills, and any of the other ways we just explored to add a bill. So I'm going to click pay bills. And what we can see now is a whole pile of bills sitting here in QuickBooks, and they all appear to be overdue. We might be deciding which ones we're going to pay. Some of these here are very old because I was just doing another exercise, and we most likely will not be paying these without investigating why they've been sitting here for this long. So I'm going to take a look now at Cass's bill, Town and Electric, and let's just say Jennifer and Christina should be paid as well. So I've selected 4 bills to be paid, and the total of those is $1,947.79. Now I need to select an account to pay that from. We can see here the balance of that account is displayed. So we can always make sure that the funds are there before we make these payments. We have the starting check number. This is assuming, of course, that we're printing checks. I don't know if anybody does this anymore, but if you're printing checks, this is where you'll put the starting check number. So once we've selected these bills, you can see that the payment amount also is populated here. If for some reason we weren't going to pay the full amount, I don't know why that would be, but we would just type that in here. So for example, we might only want to pay $500 here. So we'll type 500, then we're paying $1939.28. It's made a note here that it's a partial payment. So this is kind of cool. This is just where we can go to make payments on our bills. I have the option to save and print. If I want to print these checks immediately, just save it or save and close. I'm going to go with save and close, and we can come back and print those checks another day. We can see here the unpaid bills. There's the $8 left from Christina's where we only paid $500, and these old bills that we're going to look at and see why they're still hanging out there. Now let's say we've done our investigation and we've found out that this bill from Kyle was entered in error. So let's have a quick look here and just see what happened with Kyle. So we had a bill for subcontracted services for $150 plus sales tax. Okay. We don't want to go and delete this or mess around with it because this was back in January. We've done our books for January. This is not something that we just want to mess around with. We've filed sales tax for that period as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop up and we're going to create a credit. So I'm going to go up here under suppliers and we're going to create a supplier credit. It could also be that Kyle sent us the bill in error. He may have sent it to us twice, who knows, but we're going to create a credit. So we know it was for subcontracted services. Here we are here, the amount of $150 with sales tax. So then it comes to $169.50, which was the amount we owed Kyle. I'm going to save and close. We can see now, looking in Kyle's vendor center, we don't owe him anything, but we still have an overdue payment sitting here of $169.50. So we want to tidy that up. I'm going to show you how to do that too. We're going to pop up back up to pay bills. You can tell this is my favorite way to get there. And we're going to select Kyle. And you see here, we had a credit applied. So as soon as we put that check mark here in Kyle, a credit was applied. We could choose to not use that credit and type an amount in here, but we're not going to do that. We have a 0 amount. I think we're going to have to select a bank account in order to get this to save, but let's just see what happens. Yes, we have to select an account, which is kind of annoying when we come to do our bank reconciliation. We're going to have a zero. We, of course, want to back out that check number. Let's say print later. We don't want to be printing checks for applying a credit. But now we're going to save and close. And now you can see we don't have an overdue amount for Kyle, and we don't owe Kyle anything. And we have this zero bill payment that cleared the amounts against each other. We will have a reduced amount of subcontracted services showing up in November because, of course, we recorded the expense in January and we've reversed it out in November. That's something you might want to talk to your accountant about. If you have a 2025 December year end, that won't be an issue. But if it was a larger amount, it could cause fluctuations in your income statement, but it also means that you don't mess up any periods that have been filed. Now, another thing that we can do with our bills is by inventory. I'm going to show you how to do that. So if we pop back to a bill, you can see this is the section that we used here, the category, which takes something from the chart of accounts. But what if we're buying inventory to sell? We can collapse this. And here we have the option to add products or services. So let's choose a supplier. Pulse Promotional. Oh, wow, well, look, we have a purchase order. Why don't we add this purchase order in? That's perfect. So we've ordered 100 water bottles and 100 miscellaneous engraved items. We've had them sent in from Hong Kong, which is interesting, and they have an English address, Hong Kong dollars, in a Canadian sample company. So that should be some fun. Exempt from sales tax. And what this will do is this will add these items to our inventory. We currently have quantity of 550 water bottles. And here we have, I guess we don't have any of these showing up. Perhaps we don't track the quantity on those. But by using this item details section, you're able to purchase inventory from your suppliers. So I'm going to save and close that. So we did just see a purchase order. Let's take a quick look and just understand what you use purchase orders for. So under supplier, once again, a purchase order is something that you would send out when you want to place an order to somebody. So let's go back to Halls here. We love what we got from them before. We're going to close off the category section. This says promotional items miscellaneous. Let's see what else we have. Why don't we buy some pad folios from them? The amount that we usually pay for these is $41.81, which is $7.50 equivalent. So let's buy 100 of them. 100 of them. What we're doing now is we are sending this purchase order to the supplier and letting them know exactly what we want. We could have an attachment that has pictures of the engraving that's required. It could be any specific things. And the interesting thing with the purchase order is that it does not post anything into your QuickBooks. It sits there just waiting. So we can save this. And then we have the option up here when we receive the products and the bill, and typically they're all going to come in together, to copy it directly to the bill. So we copy the 100 through to our bill. It's linked to our original purchase order. Everything's there, and we will save and close. From this page here, you can see we have the list of all the suppliers. The way to get here is to go to All Apps, Expenses and Bills, and then Suppliers. All of our suppliers are listed, and as soon as you select one, the information for that one will pop up here, and then you will be able to search for others. Here is where you enter the address, any contact information, normally an email. Everything goes into here, any notes. Also, if there's a default category that you normally have, for example, when we had CAS with the internet earlier, we could pop that in here. So all of your vendor information lives in here. The bills we looked at, expense transactions we didn't look at this time. This is when we're paying people directly, but the list does include the bill payments. And when we click on bills here, it gives us a list of unpaid bills. We can also have a look at any we've paid recently and any that are for review, which, as I mentioned, is not something that we have in this particular file. But your unpaid bills list here, we can see we have these 2 bills to hauls for the bill that we entered initially, plus the one that we converted from the purchase order.
Hopefully that answers all your questions regarding bills, bill payments, accounts payable. Anytime you receive a bill from a supplier, you enter it into QuickBooks Online, and you can immediately see the cost of the items you've purchased or the expense, and know how much you owe. QuickBooks Online is a great way to manage your cash flow too. Be sure to click like, subscribe, ring that little bell. I've got lots more tips coming your way. Cheers.